Hi, it's Lee Reams with CountingWorks and another Tactical Tuesdays. And this tutorial, I'm going to go over our new playbook, our intake form, and this is in our workflow category. If you go into the CountingWorks dashboard, you'll see on the left side Playbooks, and then you'll see the intake form that is active. So if I click into this, I will now have the ability to set up a customized intake form. So what is an intake form? Well, it can be as easy as just your contact collection onboarding flow. So, I want to do kind of like demographic census data about my clients, so I'm better organized to work with them when I start an engagement. Or it could be as sophisticated as a full-on customized one-to-one tax organizer. Okay. So it could be as sophisticated or as simple as you want. And what I mean by form, it's a SSL secure form that your client will come in and answer some questions, fill out a few prompts, click some boxes, and then that data now will be loaded into the client hub, into the CRM. So there's a couple things that are nice about this. That data sits as context. So in the future, as Max starts learning more about clients, we can use that data to proactively give advice, perhaps suggestions, maybe some upsell things. So it's kind of cool. So I'm going to start here. If you're in the playbook, you're going to notice the same setup as we do for the proposals and the engagements. The intake is the same thing. Here's your clients. You can search for clients. You can add new clients. This is all dummy data. There's no real clients here. And then on settings, this is kind of a global area that you can add context specific to your firm. So think of this as instructions for Max on how, let's say there's certain standards, or let's say for an engagement letter, you have an insurance or you're using the AICPA templates. Maybe different engagement letters have different types of context that you want to emulate and you want Max to use when it puts together an intake form. That is where you would load. So think of this as like instructions for Max when it's creating intake forms, engagement letters, or proposals. And then here you can add PDFs or other templates, tax questionnaires, whatever. So again, that's context that Max will use when putting together your version of an intake form, for example. So let's go in here. We're going to do Pepper Claypool. A reminder here, this little edit button and client information is an area that you can add additional context that Max will use when putting something together. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this and save this. But in the future, if you hit add information, this is where you would add it. Really helpful, right? And then if I go into Pepper Claypool, I go down here to next. I hit next, and what Max is going to do is create kind of like the first draft of an intake form. So we have some best practices. The intake form that we're creating is more of like a client census version. It's not a full tax organizer, but I'm going to show you how this will work if you wanted to pivot it or change it. So Max will do its thinking. It's actually creating an HTML secure document that you can now share with your clients. They can fill out documentation. You can edit as well. So you can go through the different sections. You can come in here and add your own sections. So let's say you wanted to add text, instructions, tables, whatever. You can do all of that. If you wanted to, though, you don't need to manually do it. You could tell Max what you want. So let's just pretend this client actually has some IRS and state tax problems. I want to create an intake form for that use case. So I'm going to speech to text. Hey, Max, I want to redo this intake form. This particular client owes over $100,000 to the IRS and $50,000 to the FTB. I want to create an onboarding intake form that kind of helps organize the client, gives me a little more information on where their problems are, what notices they've received, some demographic information about the taxpayer. And I just want to make it so it's super simple, not too complex for the client, but really organizes me when I have that interview. I can really get a lot out of it. So once I'm done, I will go ahead and stop the speech to text. It will now transcribe that text. And now I hit generate content. At generate content now, that prompt that I basically just spoke to it is going to be loaded into Max. And Max is now going to calculate or recalibrate this particular form, right? So it's going to create a new intake form geared towards IRS tax problems. And the beauty of this is now you can really almost have each client, if you wanted, could have its own custom intake form. At some point, this is MVP. At some point, we're going to allow you to save these as templates and then use them. So, because you might create 5 or 10 of these and you want to replicate them for all your clients to be more consistent. or you can go in as this is today and do one-to-one to each client. So what you'll notice here is the sections are still the same, but then it's asking different types of questions. Um, like now it changed tax depth and notices. Now we're getting into, explaining some things, prior year and documentation versus goals and planning needs. So at this point, I can say, okay, I like this. So this again, old content is in the red, pink. The light green is new content. I like this. Apply changes. And now I have a new updated intake form. So if I'm ready to send this, I can scroll down. Again, I can edit it. But if I hit next, now it's going to set up a cover letter and then allow you to either email it or send it via Client Hub. So both are secure, both have SSL security in it. It depends on just your personal preferences. The generating content, you can actually edit. This is just kind of like a preview letter of what is in the particular thing. You can edit this in any way you want. But then I just hit send intake form, and that intake form is out. So again, I hope you're enjoying these new playbooks. We've had a lot of clients really start using them on the client upsells. A lot are starting to use the FAQs. I'm just going to go back to the playbooks. The FAQs are set up for creating content, localized content for like ChatGPT. There's a bunch of things in here. So if you have not figured it out or not looked at any of these playbooks, or you want to schedule an appointment with one of our customer success representatives, I strongly suggest it. But we are loading, I'm going to say 2 to 3 of these a week. And they're going to, now we have a marketing one for Xero. We have a QuickBooks playbook. We have getting more referrals, IRS tax problems. There's a ton of stuff in here. So definitely exciting times here at CountingWorks Pro. We hope you're enjoying these new tools. We're getting a lot of great feedback for those that have jumped in. If you're still on the fence, again, visit CountingWorksPro.com, schedule an appointment, and one of our reps will go ahead and help you out. So again, thank you for being a customer and listening through our Tactical Tuesday for today. We have some more tools coming. Thank you.